question that weighs heavily in a lot of people's minds is, how is it that such a heavyweight bill can pass Parliament so quickly? Are there no controls in place to make sure that it's properly debated?
Actually, there was an attempt by YB Lin Wan Eng, to refer this bill to the select committee, because after the debate took place at the policy level, so YB Lin Wan Eng stood up and asked the deputy speaker to refer the matter to the select committee. So normally this kind of bill, we need further elaboration, we need further discussion. Actually, everything was done in rush. Actually, we all the MPs were busy preparing for the debate, for the budget. No? Then suddenly 2 days before they tabled this bill was put on our table. So many documents on our table. I myself even didn't notice about this bill. We were not even given a hint that this bill was going to be presented. No idea at all. I think even from Barisan Nasional, maybe they also were not aware there was an attempt to introduce this bill. So everything was done discreetly, without consultation. Because when I asked the question to Minister Syahidan Kasim, we call him Minister of Bencana. He was supposed to look after our disaster, but he's very disastrous minister. Because when he didn't answer the question. And to be fair to him, he was not legally qualified, so he has no legal background. So whenever he answered, he said, you have to, this is kehendak Allah, kehendak Tuhan. That's nonsense. We have to hear in Parliament, unfortunately. In fact, at one stage he said that this bill was presented not under 149 because there was no emergency. Then he said, we presented this bill under Article 74, sub-Article 1. Then I stood up and said, every bill in Parliament must be presented under 74.1, because 74, sub-Article 1 said that if you want to enact any federal law, you have to go to Parliament. So he should have read. Then YB Govin stood up. He said, if you want to quote article, you should have quoted Article 74, sub-Article 3. Because 74, sub-Article 3 said that in special circumstances, you have to go to special procedures. Or if you want to enact something related to emergency, so you have to go by Article 149 and 150. So that, at least for POTA, Prevention of Terrorism Act, Prevention of Crime Act, and SOSMA, at least in the Act itself, they specifically stated that the acts were enacted pursuant to Article 149. What is so special of enacting a law under Article 149 or 150? Because Article 149 150 contains special provision stating that you can ignore certain fundamental rights. You can enact a law under Article 149 and 150. It was specifically stated therein that if you want to have a law infringing Article 5, we basically covered the rights of the accused. No one should be deprived of liberty and life save in accordance with law. If you are arrested, you have the right to be known the grounds of the arrest. You have the right to engage lawyers. All these rights, during the emergency, they can just waive. They can just ignore. They can enact a law under emergency, ignoring all these fundamental rights provision, except on matters related to freedom of religion, Article 11. Article 11 is so special, the right to freedom of religion. In fact, it covers also not only to citizens, to persons, anybody. Even the foreigners come to here, to Malaysia, the rights to freedom of religion is specifically guaranteed, is constitutionally guaranteed. Even during emergency, you cannot touch on the right to freedom of religion. So sacred of the right. But even that right is there in Parliament. You can see the right of freedom of religion in Malaysia has been, as a problem, Anyway, having said that, so there was an attempt to ask the government really to use common sense. We hope that common sense will prevail in Parliament. Unfortunately, because this is what happened. They know that they have simple majority, because this law you need only simple majority to pass. You don't have to obtain two-thirds majority. So they know that they're going to have this law passed. That's why they just ignored. They just ignored our request that the bill need to be referred to the select committee, so that we can study the bill. You can, maybe if you really want to proceed with the bill, you must do it properly. Okay. And then, if you ask me what really define the bill, for me, the two articles in the bill define the whole act, the whole bill. Article 3 and Article 11. Section 3 and Section 18 of the bill. Section 3 says the council by the name of the National Constitution is established. That was Section 3, subsection 1. And then Section 3, subsection 2 stipulates the council shall be the government's central authority for considering matters concerning national security. So this Section 3, subsection 2 define the bill. In other words, the sole power on this national security is given to the council, and the council is headed by the Prime Minister as chairman. And then we have Section 18. If you look Section 18, the wording in Section 18 is almost identical to 150, Article 150, 1. For instance, I read Article Section 18, 1, Declaration of Security Area, where the Council advised the Prime Minister that the security in any area of Malaysia is seriously disturbed or threatened by any person, matter of thing which cause serious harm to people. So you can see the corresponding wording in Article 15. But the only difference is, under Article 150 of the Constitution, the power to declare emergency is reserved to Yang Tuan Agong. He, the only authority, has the sole power to declare emergency. The minister's response, the minister's response, this law is not for emergency purposes. In other words, we are not in emergency state, so we can have law like this. So why we should resort to Article 149 and 150? So I stood up and asked the minister, yes, there was no emergency. Why you have a law like as if we have an emergency? All the provisions in this bill, showed that it suits to emergency situations. Where you need special drastic power, you need sort of draconian powers, okay? Because I think every constitution you need special, you need to cover certain when extraordinary scenario. So when in emergency we can understand you may have such you may have certain powers which are not applicable to ordinary circumstances. That's why in Constitution, I think the framers of the Constitution knows about that. That's why they knew about that. That's why they specifically stated in the Article 150 that during emergency, first the Yang Tuan Agong, the king, has the sole power to determine whether there is a special leading to emergency. He's the one who decides In fact, his satisfaction cannot be questioned in court under Article 150, sub-Article 8. Okay? And then Article 150 also provides certain provision, which I indicated earlier, that they can enact any law, ignoring the fundamental rights guaranteed under from Article 5 to 13. But of course, for freedom of religion, they cannot touch. So, if there's no evidence, then you have the law like we are having evidence. Of course, we have the right, we have every right to be feared. Of course, as I indicated earlier before during the last forum on Article 130, Section 130 of Penal Code on the detriment to democracy. Law is like a knife. You just imagine you give a knife to insane person, so they can easily misuse the knife. So now we have repressive legislation given to insane government. Just imagine. Even if you give knife to sane person, you also feel scared, Just imagine we give a knife to insane government, who very desperate to stay in power, so they will do anything. So Dr. Azari was right. Even the law was perfectly legislated under 149. We also have witnessed how the law was applied to their political enemies, to NGOs, to concerned citizens. What more if they just ignore the provision in the Constitution? I asked several MPs from Barisan Nasional, why Najib need to have this law? Some says that they also was kept in the dark. They were kept in the dark. But I asked the Deputy Speaker. The Speaker, they said actually this act was supposed to cater the problem in what happened in Sulu incursion. According to the Deputy Speaker, last time there was a problem when the army wanted to enter to the security areas, because apparently they were not allowed because of the certain bureaucracy, whatever, I don't know. So they said that's why we need this kind of law to cater that kind of problems. That was maybe promise given to certain BN's leaders. But the law was drafted in general application. So since the Prime Minister is given vast power to declare any place a security area, so we should have the right to be feared, because we know that Barisan Nasional last time also when they said we enacted ISA in order to counter terrorism, communism, but it was Kit Siang was put under Operasi Lalang, Lim Gua Eng, and then from opposition, from NGOs. So the promise, when UMNO Barisan Nasional made a promise, it was meant to be broken, not to be honoured. Am I right? When they set up 1MDB, supposed to sovereign wealth fund, it was, burden was so huge that. So every promise by the BN government, we never take it seriously, because we know every act they pass, they have certain hidden agenda. I believe Najib is fully aware that his influence, his authority, his power getting thinner and thinner, so he needs something to flex his muscle. So I believe this law is meant for Najib. That's all. Thank you very much.